Good morning, my Teaser King family. How is everybody today? I am well. Well, let's see what happens tonight or tomorrow with July 24th and the physical gold price in China. We'll see how long it takes to acclimate to, $10,000 gold or whatever. So we will see. I did have an email about week one college football. I have done it, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, where I went through the lines, maybe even Monday. Hey, Demar, I know that's, who is this? I hate when I just see this email, Demarque. I know you, but I don't know. I can't think of your name like that. But anyway, hello. Good day. Now, I have opened up comments where you can leave comments after the video versus just the live comments. I prefer the live ones, but you can, because I can answer your question right away. But I did open that up. We'll see. I'm trying to get the flavor of what their questions are, right? So we'll see. But that's open for now. We'll see how it goes. Just a second. Let me get my pita bread. So we will look at that. We'll take a look at that. Let's take a look at our gold now. It is down a little today. Again, it's paper, it's manipulated, it's made off. You got to think of paper gold as made off. It's just fixed, it's not real. So we were 41.30. Here we go to now 40.54. What the fuck? Why down, down, down? Silver back to 57.81. It was at 60. So we know it's a game. Now tonight, China takes July 24th tonight at like 6:00, and they're supposed to stop doing paper. So we'll see what happens. We know it's out there, and all we can do is go from there and see how. And we'll try to figure out, well, what is the China price of gold and silver, the physical price versus this COMEX price? Will they keep it separate? Will COMEX adjust to the physical price? This we don't know. But if we do get a real physical price, which is what China's saying, it'll be much, much higher because the supply is much, much lower. You go from 4 million to 200,000 and the demand's through the roof. So we will see a much higher price. How they do it, and then, so are you going to be able to manipulate a physical price? There's no way. But the question is, what happens to COMEX? Do we stop using it? Do they up the price to match with the physical price? Because theoretically, you could do an option. Excuse me. You could do an option, take delivery at 4,050 and go sell it for 10 grand in China. So something has to be done, but we're not sure. We'll see what happens. But it is good news, and the price of gold and silver should really jump with this physical Chinese price, and Russia and India and most of the BRICS countries. All right, so we will check on that. If it blows tonight and we see $7,000, I will be on tonight to tell you that. Otherwise, we'll just go through it tomorrow, and we will look at the Shanghai, try to figure out where the Shanghai price is. I saw one site, but it was like Shanghai in kilograms in Chinese dollars. Well, I need it in US dollars and in ounces. So we'll get to that. Baseball yesterday, I go 5-4 plus 3 units. Free picks, keep winning. Boston, a free pick, 3 units. They've won 15 in a row, and then they lost game 2 of the doubleheader. We didn't play game 2 of the doubleheader because we didn't know who was pitching. So we win that, and then the Dodgers over the Phillies. We have the Dodgers, and so that was 5 plus 5 units there. 2 free plays that win. Pittsburgh. Well, a quick note about my site. My site shows. Well, let's go to my site. So here's the Teaser King site. If we go to purchase picks, so right now, this is what needs to be changed, but I'm having a problem with Network Solutions. My IT guy has to get into the program to change this. And Network Solutions just bought out iPower. And so he tried to do it, and they have to fix something. So right now, you got Pro Pick. This is the weekly 75, 75, 100 for both, which includes locks. This we changed to the bowl games for $100, and it's going to be 200. So the Pro Picks for 4 weeks is 200. These college picks for 4 weeks will also be 200, and then both will be 300. So this we're trying to update as soon as we get Network Solutions to say, okay, he'll make the change. It won't take long. The third column, Pro Picks for the year. We did a special for playoffs and to the Super Bowl for 200. So we got to change that back to $5.99 as the colleges, and this will go to $7.50. So I was making these sales specials for the year end for the bowl games and the playoffs. So this will be $5.99. This will be $5.99, and this will be $7.50, which is what normally it is. So you get everything for $7.50. So this should be done today, tomorrow at the latest. I've been bitching at Network Solutions going, the guy looked at it, well, I can't do it. I have to move it up. And I'm like, what kind of fucking, you bought out iPower and I can't use my thing. I says, you're costing me money. What the fuck? So hopefully they'll be on it today. And then the last one is the YouTube class for $50. Baseball 15 a day and baseball 25 for the week. That'll stay. And then we got the locks over here. $75 for a week and $500 if you just want the locks for the whole year. That's good. So a college picks class was 50 and a pro picks class was 50. Austrian economics, if you wanted to have a class in that, $25. But I give you the class pretty much every day anyway. So these are the things. So this should be changed, I would say, Today's Thursday, by tomorrow for sure. But it's really somebody asked me about buying the total package, and I said, well, just there's no reason to pay me July 23rd and the first game's August 29th. So just you can wait and pay me the week of August 29th, maybe the week before, if you think that if you want to bet them early. We went through the lines. There's 6 games, August 29th, and there's actually 8 games, and I will play some of them. I've already marked some to play, and if you want to bet them early, so I will probably post that. Let's see, August 29th, maybe August 22nd, somewhere around there. I'll probably post the games for week 1 and week 1B. I can't post some of them. Some teams like USC plays the game and then they play another game, and Hawaii plays a game both weeks. So I can't post the second game until the first game's played. What if somebody gets injured? Anyway, so that's what we have. So I know a lot of people buy the full season because it's like $35 a week, and you get everything through the Super Bowl. It's the best value. Some people like the weekly, some people buy the monthly, but most people buy the full season, and it makes sense too. It probably should be like $1,500, but I understand. So that's what we got. So this should be available by tomorrow. I'll let you know. I just checked my email. I didn't see it, but I did bitch at them. I said, they're costing me money and and they, if you put it in terms like that, then, oh yeah, we're right on it, but I can't do it. I had to forward it up to the engineer, and I'm like, it's unacceptable. You guys gotta, first of all, you're not letting me into my own program. What is that? How can you not allow that? What the fuck are you doing? They're the host of the server. They're the server. So it's our program. We just want to get into our program, and we can't get into our program. And what the fuck? Why are you're just the web host. That's all you are. There should be no reason not to get us in. So I think what happened is we had iPower, and then Network Solutions bought them out. So I had to pay Network Solutions with that. And so you're getting the nuances, and why this isn't connected just shows you how bad IT is for a lot of companies. I mean, there's no excuse. You buy it out if you made a change that we shouldn't be able to get into it. Fortunately, because I'm ahead of the game, we're looking at it now instead of the end of August going, hey, just make these changes. So please understand, it's not 200 for the year, it's 750. So we can go from there. Okay. Baseball yesterday. Pitt 5, the Yankees 3. We had Pitt over 9.5. As I say, I tend to get like betting Pitt over, and I think there was kind of 2 weak pitches. Well, they had the Yankees ace was going. No, Max Fried went in the second game. This was the other guy, whatchamacallit. This was this was Garrett Cole. He actually pitched 7 innings, gave up 4 hits and 3 runs. He did exactly what I thought. The problem was the Yankees did not hit the Pittsburgh pitcher. I mean, 5-3 should have been more. It's actually 3-3, and then Pitt scored 2 runs in the 10th. So it's really a 6 that went to an 8, but we're 9.5. Normally, Pitt scores a lot of runs. All right, so that's a loser. We went over. Next game, Boston 6-3. We give you Boston. They have their 15-game winning streak going, and then they lose in the nightcap. But we didn't play the nightcap. I don't like playing that second game of the double, especially when it's 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. These owners are out of their minds, stupid. I mean, the players are not going to play well if you play at 1:30. It means you get to the ballpark at 10 o'clock, and then you play the game, and then what do they do for 2 or 3 hours? And then play the second, and then they're out getting ready for the second game. So it's a very long day for the players. They should just play a doubleheader, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Anyway, so we do win Boston. It is your free play. The next game, Milwaukee 4, the Mets 3. We don't play. The total on the game was 7.5. They played a 7, but I didn't like the pitchers, so I left it alone. The 49ers was our next play. KC wins 5-4. Again, Seth Lugo, he stunk. And then Root for Frisco has been hot, but this is where you get into the bullpen. So we lose that one. Washington 8, Colorado nothing. We don't play. Again, the total was 10.5. I probably liked it over. They don't get there, and then Colorado doesn't score, which is unusual. But we don't play that one. Oakland, we play over 9, and Arizona wins 15-5. You had 2 bad pitchers, and we got the result. We should have gotten the pit game. So 15-5. Oakland over 9. That's the W. Cincinnati 5, Seattle 3. We play Seattle. Let's take a look at the pitchers there. Brady, wow, we bet against Brady Singer. Those Brady Singer goes 6 innings, gives up 3 runs, 3 hits, but then they don't score with the bullpen guys. The 5.59 guy pitched the 9th. Normally they give up 2-3 runs, right? And Seattle had John Hancock go 3.16 ERA, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. It was the Bizzardo 2.84 ERA, gives up 3 runs. That's where we lost, was Bizzardo, the Bizzardo world. So again, we bet against Brady Singer, and he pitched bad. I mean, it was the bullpen that got us because Hancock pitched okay. St. Louis 1, California nothing. We don't play. Minnesota 10, Cleveland 6. We do play this game over. The over was 8, I thought was low, and Minnesota beats them 10-6. So we win over 8. Your other free play, the Dodgers and Phillies. The Dodgers win 9-5. This is a close game. Next thing I know, it's like 9-2, and then it ends 9-5. We had a very good pitcher for the Dodgers and a very bad pitcher for Philly. So it was a perfect storm. So we play LA. That was your free pick. That wins. Second game of the doubleheader, the Yankees 2, Pittsburgh nothing. Max Fried pitched this one, and this is what you would expect, but again, scared to go under with Pittsburgh unless it's Scanes on the mound. So 2-0 Yankees. Tampa Bay 4, Toronto 2. We don't play it. Again, we have no idea. You would think this would be an over game, and because it wasn't great pitching. The total was 7.5, and they play a 6, but we don't play it. Second game of the doubleheader, Baltimore 5, Boston 1. Again, that snaps their win streak. So now we're not going to bet Boston because of a win streak. We'll bet them because of the pitcher. But Baltimore wins 5-1. San Diego, Atlanta. Atlanta wins 7-6. The total on the game was 9. These teams are so inconsistent. It's crazy. Sometimes they're over, sometimes they're under, and then Atlanta's won, San Diego won, Ferris Bueller won, and now Atlanta wins 7-6. The White Sox 4, Texas 2. Again, trouble there. You would think this would be over. It's not, but we didn't play it. Detroit 5, the Cubbies 1. Played the Cubs in the game. Framber Valdez, or no, it was Montero, the reliever, was pitching against a decent Cub pitcher. So again, the Tigers barely hit. They do win 5-1. The Tigers, who the hell knows what you get with this team. In our last game, Houston 5, Miami 2. We play under 8, and Houston wins 5-2, 7. So that's a winner. And that's it. So we end up going 5-4 and a +3 units. So basically it was even, but since we won Boston, that was 3 units that gave us the win. So that was yesterday's baseball. And now we go to today's baseball. And there's a 12-15 game. Well, it's not even 11 yet. So 7:23. We got Atlanta minus 239 and 8. We got Kevin Hart 450 going against Chris Sale 206. And we will see. Total on the game's 8. Minnesota, Cleveland. I'm not going to say the pitcher. We already know Chris Sale doesn't give up any runs, and I don't know who Kevin Hart is, so pretty obvious there. Minnesota, Cleveland played an over. Cleveland 143, 7.5. Ty Bradley 387 for Minnesota. Gus Williams 401 for the Wizards. And Ty Bradley has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He won 6 in a row, lost to the Cubs, so he's 6-1. Some overs, some unders. His last 6. 2 runs, 1-1, 2, and then somehow 5 runs against the Cubs, and they lost 6-2 at Chicago. But it's funny how he went before. He was 4-4-5-4, so he pitched 4 games in a row. Then figures it out and goes 2-2, 1-1, 2, and then a 5. So can't explain that. It's just the way the streak, the cookie crumbles. So now he was pitching good and he gave up a 5. But he always gave up a couple of runs. Gavin Williams, East Carolina, for Cleveland. He's 3-1 his last 4. The last 3 have been under. Last 6, 7 runs, 2 runs, 3, 3, 2, and 5. This guy gives up a lot of runs. He pitches 5-5-5, then 4 innings, 7 innings, and 6 innings. He's not that good. Ty Bradley is pretty good, and then has some win some, lose some games. I'm going to give you this as the free play. I might have another free play for you. Here's where I don't understand the total. We got Cleveland 143 and 7.5. Now Minnesota just put up 10 runs yesterday, so they're hitting. Gavin Williams does not. He has a 4 ERA, which looks more like a 6. Because again, these are 5-6 innings. So if you give up 3 runs in 6 innings, it's really like a 4 ERA. Ty Bradley with the 3.87 gives up a couple runs and then has some bad games. But what intrigues me is this 7.5. I don't get it. A 4 and a 3.67, which could be a 4.5. So Cleveland 143, 7.5. So I just think this total is too low. So we're gonna play the over 7.5 in this game. Minnesota, Cleveland. Tampa Bay at Toronto. Who the hell knows here? Tampa Bay 106, 8.5. We got Jane Seymour 546 against Sean Bieber 587. Again, this total looks very low. Ian Seymour, probably related to Jane. He's 3-3 his last 6. 3 runs, shutout, 1 run, 3 runs, 6 runs, 3 runs. So he had a shutout and a one, both against Kansas City. Outside, take Kansas City out of it. It's a 3 to Washington. It's a 3 to the Yankees. It's a 6 to Seattle, and it's a 3 to the Red Sox. So he's given up. And this isn't KC, who can't hit. And Witt, apparently the shortstop, Witt is out for KC with a back or a stomach or something. It's a minor injury, but he'll sit out he's on the injured list, probably just taking a rest. They stink anyway. Shane Bieber came back June 23rd. He's 2-3 his last 5. 4 runs, 2 runs, 7 runs, 2 runs, and last game was a 6-inning, 3-hit shutout against the White Sox. So he's pitched 80, 90 pitches, 2 runs, 7, 2, and a shutout. And that's it. So I don't know what we get out of this guy. He's given up 4 and 7, and then 2s and a 0. Tampa Bay, I mean, they played very low score yesterday. Seymour is going to give up runs. 8.5 seems small. I don't know. I'd like to play the game over, but these teams, who knows? The game could be 2-1. You just have no idea with these two teams. Arizona goes to St. Louis. We got St. Louis 115, 7.5, another low one. Fat for Arizona, 3.89 against McGreevy, 2.92 for the St. Louis. And we got Fat. Fat's won his last 4. And yes, he started his last 4. He's normally a starter. He's been in the bullpen. He started May 12th, so he came on, but he's won his last 4. Let's just look at those 4, because before that he was just 1-inning bullpen. 5 innings, 1 run, shutout, 2 runs, 2 runs, and he's going 70 pitches. He's going to give us 5 innings, and then it's bullpen time. McGreevy. What the UC Santa Barbara. He lost 4 in a row, then won his last 2. So his last 6, gave up 2 runs, 5 runs, shutout, 2 runs, 1 run, 2 runs. And before that, it was 2 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs. So he's 2-2-2-5, 0-2-1-2. But Fat's on a winning streak. Total 7.5. I have no idea. I'm going to have to watch this game. I just don't. I think McGreevy holds him down. I'd probably be a low scoring game, but we're at 7.5. I'm gonna take a pass. And our last game, so this is a Thursday. Detroit 2-12-8. I don't see how Detroit can be 2-12 over anybody. They're at home against Kansas City. 2-12-8. Dobnik for Kansas City. Who the hell is this guy? Probably a reliever. He's pitched in 3 games, and he has started them. 4 innings, 2 runs, 5 innings shutout, 4 innings, 1 run, 96 and 95 his last 2 games. He was with Minnesota the last 5 years, 19, 20, 21. Didn't pitch in 22, 23. So let's go to 24, 5.59 ERA. 26, he pitched in 1 game. And then 26, he's pitched in 3 games, started 1, 1.93 ERA, which I don't buy. Against Troy Milton, San Diego Stater, and his log, he's 6-1 his last 7, and mostly unders. He has a very good ERA. His last 6, Gave up 4 runs, then 1-1, 0-1-1. 4 runs were to Minnesota, of all teams. So a good pitcher in Melton. Dobek is a low ERA for, he pitched a few games. Detroit can't hit, as they showed you yesterday. And every day, Kansas City, without Witt, won't hit. So we'll have to play this game. And that's it. There's only 5 or 6 games. Very strange. So Minnesota, Cleveland, we're going to go over 7.5 as your free play 2 units. I only got 3 picks, but there's not a lot of games anyway. Let's see if there's any streaks going on. Actually, I got to go here. Now that Boston lost and Oakland won, there shouldn't really be any streaks. All right. Toronto on a 4-game losing streak. Nothing else. That's why I really haven't been looking at. I've been looking more at the pitcher streaks. Miami's on a 9-game losing streak. Maybe we'll bet against Miami. Max Meyer is out. Okay, that's it. So Max Meyer, the Miami superstar, he's on the injured reserve. So this is frustrating when you're betting this guy and then he gets hurt. All right. So let's look at college football. Now, I've got the teams. I gotta add them to the spreadsheet, and I got to do that. I'll do that today. So right now, here are the lines. So 8:29 week 1, and off we go. But what I'll add is the defense. I don't have the defensive number if it's a new quarterback or not. I more or less do it in week 1, week 1A, where and week 1B, where I say the quarterback's new or not. After that, then we can kind of see what the quarterback did. And it doesn't matter as much if he's new or not. It's just the first game. It's like the first day of work. Well, after you're there the day, then the second days, you start getting the rhythm of the job. Anyway, I hate betting on a guy who's never played before. We don't know what he is. Could be great, but he's not going to play as well as after playing for a year or even 6 games. And then, the key, the defense we can kind of read in Gray Sports Almanac. We see the new coaches, so I don't really put a thing in for the new coaches. I do on my spreadsheet. So my spreadsheet has new coach, the quarterback, if he's new, if he's never played before. If he played last year and he has stats, I just bring him in and then I get his stats with it, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks, whatever. So that's where I'm at with that, with the quarterbacks. So I want to know if he's new, and then I want to put in last year's defensive stats. So I need to do that, um, and we'll go from there. So let's look at the line, and we'll do week 1. It's a bit early to get a lot of changes, right? I wouldn't expect too much betting until August 29th till August 26th or August 27th. TCU 6.5, 49.5 hasn't moved. As far as I know, the game's at TCU. North Carolina, they have a new offensive coordinator, Bobby Petrino from Louisville. So this will be interesting to see. Belichick didn't do much offense or defense last year. USC 35, 58.5 against San Jose State. That's a 3:00 game, so that's a noon game. California, these noon game, what are they kidding? A noon game? Jeez, crazy. NC State, Virginia 5.5, 54.5. This is actually a 3:30 game for Virginia. The other one is a noon game for SC, being on the West Coast. North Dakota State 7.5, 48.5 to Jacksonville State. North Dakota State, a Division II power, is Division I. We've seen Missouri State come in. We saw Jacksonville State come in. You don't know what you get. North Dakota State should be a good team. It's just how are they going to handle the better talent? And here's Jacksonville State, who I got to check them out. That's why I got to put them so I can say, oh, they're a C team or whatever. So again, this is what I do is get how good is Jacksonville State, and really we don't know how good North Dakota State is. They usually did well when they played Minnesota or Iowa. They'd get up for that one game. Now it's every week they're Division I, so we'll see. Sacramento State, Eastern Michigan, Eastern 7.5, 52.5. Now Eastern is no, I think Western or Eastern. One of them's the A team in the MAC. They're the best team in the MAC, and I think it might be Western. And 7.5. So again, we got to see how good Eastern is. But the key is how good Sacramento State. I have no data on them. I can look in their page and see kind of their stats, but again, they're meaningless because they're against Division II teams. And Eastern Michigan is clearly a MAC team in a Division I, with much better players than they see in Division II. So I can't just pull them in. Now, if they score 40 a game, I can kind of say they're an over team. But that's all I can say, because scoring 40 against high school teams doesn't really, when you start playing the better competition, if they played Alabama, they'd lose 52-0. So we'll see. Florida State 30.5, 53.5 to New Mexico State. I'm not buying Florida State. They got to show me something. Good coach, maybe, but their defense gone. Their quarterback play, they don't have one. I don't know why they can't recruit quarterbacks. They keep stealing quarterbacks. They'll take the guy from, Arizona Tech or something. Well, can't they just recruit a quarterback who's good? Or are there not good quarterbacks anymore in high school? Or are they all doing the run and shoot and all this running and none of them are throwing? So there's no good quarterback. My quarterback has to throw the ball. I got Jerry Rice on the field. I don't want Joe Montana running, and he's got to throw the ball to Jerry Rice. And, so this is the key. You have to have a quarterback who can throw the ball to your receivers, not one that runs. I don't know what's going on that Florida State can't get a quarterback. I mean, for them to sign Uglia Buglia, what a joke that was. Um, so we'll see about that. But this is one of the night games. And then Hawaii at Stanford, also 7 o'clock. Stanford 3.5, 50.5. That's crazy. Hawaii's the better team here. So we will see about that. And then 10 o'clock, Memphis goes to Vegas. Vegas 5.5, 59.5. Excuse me. They're, of course, doing the weeding right now. But it's nice and cool. It's like 65 degrees here. So I got the door open. Um, this shouldn't be too long. Sounds like an edger or something, not a lawnmower. So Vegas 5.5, 59.5. This is a good game. Vegas has Dan Mullen back, and Memphis got the Southern Miss coach who was at Marshall, who's a good coach. So I'm looking probably for a high scoring game here. That's your 1A. And then we get down to, I got to go to week 2. So they call this week 1, and then they're calling everything else week 2. And we start off with we got Rutgers 30-55 against UMass. Rutgers is not very good. UMass is the Z team, that we know. It gives Rutgers a chance to get a win, I guess. And UMass, we'll see. I mean, they suck. I don't know that they got any better. Wake Forest 22.5, 49.5 to Akron. Akron was a Z team. I think they got a little bit better. They might be a W team. Wake, don't know. Again, it's a game Wake needs because they have to get their win when they can. They're ACC. So they're going to play NC State, Virginia, Miami maybe. So they need to win when they get it. So you got to look at it like that. Georgia Tech 751.5 to Colorado. Georgia Tech with the new quarterback, Haynes King's gone. The backup went, I think, Auburn or somewhere. Colorado's in big trouble. Without Prime Jr., they have no offense. They were pathetic last year. That shows you how bad a Coach Prime is. Coaching his son was one thing, but then after that, he's in big doo-doo. Minnesota. Now, Eastern Illinois is Division 2, I believe. I don't believe they're Division 1. Yes, I hate they start throwing in these lines. Missouri, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. What are you giving me a line for those? All right. Illinois, 27.5, 56.5 to UAB. Again, we got to get more read up on a UAB. Those are the teams you got to – this is where you got your bitches, and you could really make a lot of money if we see UAB as a Z team or as an A team. It looks like they're a Z team if they're 27-point dogs. But Illinois got a new quarterback, and we'll have to see what they're all about. So this is one of those games you probably watch and go, oh, UAB, they suck, or maybe they get the upset. So again, we got to find that out. Eastern Michigan 454.5 to San Jose State. San Jose State plays USC. They're going to get killed, and then we'll see what they do against Eastern Michigan. How good is them? They are playing the first week against Sacramento State. So we'll learn a little, but not a lot. And then San Jose State, so we'll see. Michigan State 10.5, 49.5 to Toledo. Toledo is always a very good team. I think they have a new coach this year. Michigan State's got a new coach, the guy from Northwestern, who got fired for something. It's funny, they can get fired for doing something weird, and then they'll get hired by another team. I don't know, Michigan State, Toledo coming here to win, so I think that's a little bit too high of points against Toledo. Oklahoma 40, 49.5 to UTEP. Oklahoma does not have the offense for this, but they have a very good defense. UTEP, very weak team, so we'll see. Oklahoma should pound them, but I don't like Mateer, their quarterback. Do they have a running attack? That we'll find out. They'll be able to run it down UTEP's throat. UTEP won't be able to do much against this defense until the fourth quarter, and then we'll see. USC 23-51 to Fresno State. Now, this is different. San Jose State's not very good. Fresno State's much better. So USC 23.5. We will see, and then we'll see who Fresno State's quarterback is. This could be an over versus USC. Now, USC will play week 1 against San Jose State, but we don't know what we're going to do against Fresno State. So anyway, all right, Miami goes to Stanford 23.5, 49.5. Miami, the 8 team. This line's gone from 22 to 23, but again, this is scores and odds. There's multiple sites. And 49.5. Miami should kill them. Stanford was a Z team. I don't see them getting any better. Miami, I like their quarterback, Minshew. I like their running back, Fletcher, and I like Tony. And they seem to have the pretty killer defense, even though they lost Ruben Bain. So we will see. But look for Miami here. I know it's a little bit hard to go into the West Coast to play Stanford. And that'll take a little out of them, but not that much. Coastal Carolina goes to West Virginia. West Virginia is 20, 57.5. That's up from 19. So the first part of the games were 9-3 and then 9-4. Now these are 9-5. So this is Saturday. So West Virginia 20.5, 57.5. Coastal Carolina is pretty bad. West Virginia, I don't know. Rich Rodriguez, I don't know that they're all good. They tend to score a lot. We'll see. James Madison 6.5, 52.5. Liberty's been very good. James Madison's been very good. They keep losing their coach. First guy went to Indiana. The second guy went to UCLA. So we'll keep an eye on UCLA to see if they turn into what Indiana was. And then we'll see who James Madison now has as their coach. They got to keep finding new coaches. But they're a very good program. And Liberty's also a very good program. So this is a good game. Madison 6.5, 52.5. Indiana 40.5, 54 to North Texas. This is a game where North Texas, the quarterback went to Oak State. I don't think Oak State's all that they're going to win the conference. They'll just be a high-scoring team with no defense instead of a low-scoring team with no defense. North Texas has switched coaches to a running coach from a passing coach. That's ridiculous. Your whole offensive line are pass blockers. Now they got to be run blockers. That's not an easy skill to switch. Indiana 40.5, 54.5. I like their quarterback Hoover from TCU. the rest of the game, they got a good offensive line. They got good running. They got good receivers. And they got good defense. They didn't lose all that from last year. I think once you have the system in place like Signati has, I think you're looking at this could easily be a blowout. And it's not a blowout because Indiana tries to. It's their defense is going to suffocate. North Texas is going to run into a brick wall. And Indiana is just going to run the ball down their throat. And like in the Illinois game, they're just going to run it and go 50 yards for touchdowns all day. So they're really not trying to run the score up. But 40 could be covered by halftime. I think Indiana wants to get off to it. I can see 35-0 right away, and then we'll see how the second half plays out. Alabama, 26.5, 54 to East Carolina. The coach has got to have his job on the line for Alabama. He was good because he had Michael Penix, not the other way around at Washington. It's another coach I think made a mistake by leaving Washington for Alabama. He had a pretty good gig. Washington, maybe they play Ohio State once or twice. But now they're in the SEC, and this guy's struggling. Didn't have a quarterback. We'll see if he's got one now. I didn't think his quarterback was all that, and the Rams drafted him in the first round. They're out of their minds. So we will see. East Carolina, I got to see how strong they are. Alabama looks to get off the blocks. I think they look to blow them out just because they need to for the coach. But we'll see. It's a game Alabama normally wins the first game. They've always, that was more with Saban, they'd always win by 40. And East Carolina, I don't think will bother him too much. At Alabama, at home, this game cannot be within 20. So we'll see. Ohio goes to big Nebraska. Nebraska 23.5, 47.5. I don't know how good Nebraska is. I don't know how good the coach is. Their defense kind of struggled late in the year. Raiola left for Oregon. I don't understand that. They already got more there, so why is Raiola going to Oregon? And Nebraska brought in a better quarterback. Seem to have a good defense. Ohio, we'll have to see. They're a pretty good MAC team. Toledo, Ohio, Miami of Ohio, and I think Western Michigan are the good MAC teams. And then we bet against Akron, Massachusetts, and a couple of the Z teams there. So I don't know, Nebraska. Maybe it's an under game. Ohio is a good team, so it's not like this is 52-0. Houston, Oregon State. Houston 18.5, 50.5. Houston should be good. Wegman, the quarterback, I like. I like Willie Fritz, their coach. They should have a good defense. Oregon State. I got them as a Z team. They sucked last year, so Houston should get off to a good start. We will see. Pittsburgh, 16.5, 50.5 to Miami of Ohio. Again, a very good MAC team. Pitt and Ohio are right next to each other, always rivalries. I'm not sure Pitt blows them out. I think this should be very competitive. So we'll see. But Pitt's got a good quarterback. Narduzzi, Michigan State coach, seems to be okay. They seem to be a good team, not an elite team. And Miami of Ohio will come to play. So this could be a game. This won't be a game. Ball State at Ohio State. Ohio State 50 and 56. You got to be kidding. How do you have a 50-point? How do you have a game where there's a 50-point favorite? Ohio State, Sand is back. The receiver, Smith, is back. Bo Jackson, the running back. The killer defense. I don't know if Ball State will pass midfield until the fourth quarter when the fourth string's in. This is the problem. Ohio State gets up 50-0. They pull all their players. Are they going to keep the 50-point lead? That's the biggest problem with the 50-point spread. Not that Ohio State won't score 50. It's when they go to the fourth string in the fourth quarter, they're not going to score much, and they're going to run the ball. And then is their defense, the fourth string defense, that good? And what's Ball State going to do? They're going to keep throwing to try to get a touchdown, because to them, getting a touchdown is like winning the game. So this is what you have with a 50-point line. Kent State against South Carolina. South Carolina 34.5 and 51.5. I expect South Carolina to blow them out. The new coach, Bryles Jr., is the offensive coordinator, and they run and shoot. And Lenore Sellers, good athlete, decent quarterback. We'll see. He should have a big year with Bryles. Again, it's the little thing. It's a new offensive coordinator like a Bryles. All of a sudden, Lenore Sellers is a superstar. Where was he last year when he sucked? And so this is the problem you're running into. Obviously, you actually need to study the coordinators more than you need to study the coaches. But I'd be shocked if South Carolina doesn't win this game by 50. Lane 34. Kent State, I think they're a Z team. I'll check. And that's what we're looking for. If Kent State's a Z team, then we'll be playing South Carolina. But again, I'll be using last year's Z team to try to figure out if they're a Z team this year. And that's why week one's a little difficult for a game like this. Is Kent State still a Z team? Now, normally, if they're a Z team and they haven't changed coaches, they're still going to be a Z team because the coach is in over his head. And you got about 20, 25 coaches that are in over their head that have no idea what they're doing. They're there because they were an offensive or defensive coordinator or a quarterback coach or some bullshit like that. And that's where they get their thing. So we'll see. Cincinnati, 7.5, 54.5 to Boston College. Boston College is not very good. Cincinnati, Sorsby left. We'll see who their quarterback is. And this is where, if it's a new quarterback versus a returning, is exactly this game. Cincinnati with a returning quarterback will beat Boston College. With a new one, he's got to get his feet wet. That's going to take a half. So you waste the first half, him figuring out what an offensive tackle is and a defensive tackle in Boston College. So if you have an experienced quarterback, this is where you get the big edge. It's games like this. Marshall, Penn State 23.5, 54.5. Penn State will be much improved this year with the Matt Campbell, the Iowa State coach, and they brought in Rocco Brack, the Iowa State quarterback, who's very good. Marshall, who's always pretty decent. They're always like a B team in whatever division they're in. Penn State, we'll see. Matt Campbell didn't blow anybody out at Iowa State, not usually. But he's at Penn State now, a little better talent, and 100,000 people saying, you better blow him out. So he will feel that pressure. Rocco Brack, very good quarterback, so we will see what's going on with that. But I like I'm going to keep my eye on Penn State. And really Marshall. We'll see if they pull the upset or they lose by 3, then we'll be on Marshall. And that's how you adapt. We adapt to what we see year to year because everything changes, especially now. Coaches moving all over, coordinators moving all over, quarterbacks moving all over. And, how many good players did Marshall lose to the Big Ten and the SEC and stuff like that? So that's what we see. So, again, this is what we'll keep our eye open. I'm assuming Penn State with Matt Campbell, very good coach, and Rocco Brack, that they're going to have a big year in the Big Ten. But that's what we're looking at, the new coach. Duke, 10, 52.5 over Tulane. I did look at Tulane. I think they're going to struggle this year. Again, they lost their coach, Summerall. I think he went to Florida. And so how often can you keep replacing coaches and stay good? The quarterback was Menschau, who went to Duke, who's now the quarterback for Miami. He was a great quarterback at Tulane. How do you keep replacing quarterbacks? So we'll take a look at that. Duke, they lost their quarterback. So we really have to feel this game out. Is Duke okay? Is Tulane gonna fall? Great Sports Almanac says no, they're Tulane, and I'm like, again, why did the Steelers go down? Well, they lost Joe Green and they lost Jack Ham and they lost Bradshaw and they lost Mike Wagner. And, you start losing your stars. You don't replace them with stars. And that's what you're looking at. So how's Tulane going to do? John C., hello. Good morning. Texas State goes to Texas. Texas 31.5, 59. None of these lines are really moving, which I don't expect to until the middle of this game's 9-5, 9-3. I expect Texas goes to 33 or 34. Texas State, again, I got to fill in. They were an over team last year, and this is where they're going to struggle. Texas will blitz and put pressure on the quarterback, but when Texas has the ball, they're going to run it down Texas State's throat. So it could be an over game. It could be take Texas, lay the 25.5. We'll have to figure out which way we want to go. Keep in mind, Texas has Ohio State the week after. So they will be resting their players. They don't want to get anybody hurt for Ohio State. So we'll see Arch Manning come out in the fourth quarter. So again, we'll have to see how good will Texas State play them. The game of the day here, Boise State, Oregon. Oregon 24.5, 52.5. Boise plays them tough. Boise, this game should go way over 52.5. Let me just, I already put that down. I don't trust Dante Moore. Boise, Maddox is okay. Nothing special in the quarterbacks. They've got Oregon with a strong defense. Boise always plays very well against these Oregon State teams. When they were in the Mountain West and Boise had those great teams, they would play Oregon and they'd beat them. They'd beat the good Oregon teams. They'd beat them 27-24 or something. So they're not afraid of Oregon. They will score on Oregon. The question is their defense and how bad's Dante Moore going to be. Auburn 759.5 to Baylor. Baylor, I don't like DJ Langway at all. And Auburn, I think they got the quarterback from Georgia Tech, Philo. So this is like, we'll see. Very, very interesting game here. This is a good game to watch and take notes. Because it's a good game, it's Baylor-Auburn, two good teams. Whatever happens in the game, you can take and go, yeah. In other words, Tennessee plays Furman. I'm not going to get anything out of Tennessee. They win 62-0. It's a high school game. But Baylor-Auburn, whatever we see, we can go, yep, Auburn's quarterback's good or bad. Baylor's quarterback's good or bad. Their defense, they ran the ball. We will be able to see this and figure them out a little bit better. My guess is Auburn wins at home, but, again, we got to see what the quarterbacks look like. And Langway's terrible. Langway had like 12 touchdowns, 14 interceptions last year. That's why Florida sucked, and that's why he left Florida. They probably kicked him out. But this is where I struggle that Baylor would pay Langway to come there. He stinks. Why would you pay him? Here, you get room and board. You get a free education. Go fuck off. All right, so that's a big mistake. But Auburn at home probably gets the win. I don't think Baylor's got that 50-point offense that they always have here. I like this game. UTSA against UT Rio Grande Valley. Yes. I'm so tempted to play the Rio Grande against Texas San Antonio. Okay, Oak State, Tulsa. Oak State 12.5, 16.5. We know Oak State's a totally different team, a good coach, great quarterback, probably a weak defense. Tulsa, we got to see what we ranked them, if we can rank them. We'll get a better rank after this game. See, this week 1 and week 2 gives us our start for our rankings for teams like this, Oak State with the new coach. Not Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Tech. We already know. Nothing's going to change there unless you get an injury. So we don't need that. Michigan, I look at as an under team. Penn State, I think, will be better. UCLA's, we're going to keep our eye on. That's our bitch. If Chesney, the James Madison coach, does what the Indiana coach did from James Madison, then we will. James Madison will be the coach's, the cradle of coaching will be James Madison. So here, we got to really see what Tulsa is. If they have a good quarterback and they score a lot, we can go over because Oklahoma State's going to score. If they have a weak defense, we can take Oak State. So it all depends on the defense and the quarterback again. But we know what Oak State is. They're going to score 40 points. Northern Illinois and Iowa. Iowa 30 and 45. This game, Northern Illinois is usually a fairly good defensive MAC team who are now in the they're in the Conference USA, I think. No, they're in the Mountain West. Don't know. But Iowa, they got a new quarterback, and I think their running back also graduated. So I don't really see Iowa being 30 points better than Northern Illinois. This is not a Z team, right? This is a good team, good defense. They're an under team. They just don't – they run the ball a lot. Colorado State 48.5 to Wyoming. Again, this is a game we want to watch. Let's get a feel of their quarterbacks. Wyoming always has a pretty good defense with their coach. Let's see what Colorado State looks like. They are 4-point favorites and 48.5. They got to have a low total because of Wyoming, who always has a good defense. So, again, take notes on this game. Florida International, South Florida, 12.5, 54.5. And we've got Florida. Well, I have to grade this one. South Florida, their quarterback went to, I think, Auburn or somebody, Brian Brown, the guy from FX. He was a good quarterback, but running South Florida's offense. So now he's at a different team. How is he going to be affected by the new offense? This is what these guys don't think. They take for some reason, they're paying them to come there, and then they take the money, even though it's a bad move, if it's a bad offense for them, especially the quarterbacks, running backs. So we'll see. 12.5, 54.5. I don't know. We'll see. Florida International, I got to see what I graded them. See, that's the last step I have to do. Look at the grade from last year. Look at the defense from last year. Do they have a quarterback? Then I can start making more picks. Texas A&M, 39.5, 52.5 to Missouri State. Missouri State, I think they were an over team. Good offense, terrible defense. A&M, Marcel Reed fell apart in the Texas game, fell apart in the Miami game. Pretty good against Notre Dame, which is all we cared about. 52. So they're not expecting Missouri to score. So this is like a 40-10 game. No, this is like 45-5 game or something like that. Yeah, it's about it. 46-6 is the score predicted here. Get you 39 and 52, and I don't know. A&M usually with a pretty good defense, but they're always a mystery. They're always decent, but not great. They have talent, but they don't, and they can't win a big game. Troy, 16.5, 51.5 to Sam Houston. Sam Houston stinks. Their coach went to um, Temple. So Temple should be getting better. Sam Houston stinks. Their coach stinks. Troy, 16.5, 51. Troy's not great. They're not all that. So I don't know how comfortable I am playing Troy, but Sam Houston is a Z team. So it's not really the team we want to play against Sam Houston. We'd want to play even Missouri State or some team with a good offense. They'll just blow them out. Arkansas State, Memphis, 10.5, 56.5. Interesting game here. Memphis, the new coach from Southern Miss through Marshall, good quarterback, fairly good team. Arkansas State, we got to see how bad they are. They don't look too bad if they're only getting 10, but Memphis at home should get the W. Michigan, 26.5, 47.5. We love the new coach, Whittingham from Utah. Probably their best coaching hire since maybe Lloyd Card or something. Excuse me. So they're playing Western Michigan, who's a very good MAC team. We'll see what they do against Michigan. 26.5, 47.5 is tempting to go under. Michigan has the Utah defense. They're not gonna. They'll be a 10 or 14 defense because they've had good defenses the last few years. Question is Western, how maybe they get 7 in the game, 30-7, something like that. I don't. Michigan will run the ball because that's what Whittingham likes to do at Utah. Play this strong defense. If Underwear's the quarterback, they're in big trouble. He's terrible. So we'll see on that one. Probably an under game. Lou Monroe against Old Mississippi State. Old Mississippi State, 28.5, 55.5. Look for them to score early and often. Lou Monroe, the Z team out of the Sun Belt. If they have any offense, then we go over 55. But right now, we probably go late 28, down to 22 for Old Mississippi State. It's a game they have to win. They're in the SEC. You're trying to get victories. LSU, 11.5, 50.5. Lane Kiffin, Clemson. They don't have a quarterback. Their defense isn't as good. Dabo Sweeney. He's on the – I was watching the orange-white game, Clemson spring game. He's got a microphone out there. The fuck has a microphone? If you want to have a microphone, at least have those that pin to your shirt. But he's sitting there like this. You're like, yeah, I don't think I can follow this guy. LSU at home on a Saturday night, 7:30 against Clemson. Lane Kiffin's first game, but he's got a good quarterback from Arizona State. And I like the quarterback, and the defense was strong last year. Bobby, you're going to be at the game. And then Clemson, they got a new quarterback. I think LSU kills him here. He'll want to make a good impression, Lane Kiffin. Florida against Florida Atlantic. Florida 26.5, 57.5. Florida Atlantic. I don't know. I got to check my history. Florida. They had Langway. He's gone. They brought in a new quarterback, a new coach. They brought in the Troy coach, I believe. So we'll see. They might be better. Depends on the talent they have. So that's a team you keep an eye on. New Mexico, 12.5, 48.5 over Central Michigan. New Mexico is supposed to be pretty good this year. They got a new coach, Eck, last year. He went to Michigan, played. They lost 34-17, played pretty good. He did beat UCLA, Central Michigan, average MAC team. Just the fact they got to travel to New Mexico. 12 and a half, 48 and a half. Yeah, I got to think New Mexico is a live one here. Vegas at Hawaii. Vegas is a 1.5, 58 and a half. I think Hawaii is a live dog. I think both teams are even. I think it's a high scoring game. Good quarterback on Hawaii. Dan Mullen at Vegas. So I think this game goes down to the wire. Close game. Should be high scoring. UCLA Cal 1.5, 54 and a half. Now, again, we got the James Madison coach at UCLA, but how long is it going to take him to be the James Madison coach at UCLA? In other words, is after one game, are they're going to start off, or they're going to suck the first 2 or 3 weeks and then finally figure out the system? Cal's okay. They're not all that. Yeah, the game's even. Tease the dog, I think, there. Western Kentucky, 352 and a half to Nevada. Nevada's a Z team. Western Kentucky, I don't know how much better they are. It's at Nevada, so you're in the mountains. I don't think we'll get snow September 5th. We'll have to see, but Nevada's terrible. They're a Z team. Then we get the 9-6. We got to this is Sunday. Washington State. Washington 21 and a half, 50 and a half. They got much the better team, much the better quarterback. Talking about Washington, they're at home. They blew them out last year. I don't even know if it's a rivalry anymore, just in the sense it's in Washington, but we'll have to see. I think Washington killed some. Wisconsin against Notre Dame, and Jesus will be in the game. He will be there. He's coming. Notre Dame, 20 and a half, 47 and a half. Really good quarterback, better running than last year. Strong defense. Wisconsin's in trouble. I don't know who their quarterback is. Their coach sucks. Bad decision leaving Cincinnati to come here. Here's another case that, what are you doing? Cincinnati, you have an easy division, the ACC, and here you're fucking around with the Big Ten. Yeah, good luck. Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, SC, Michigan, Penn State now, Iowa. Yeah, you're out of your fucking mind. So 20 and a half at Notre Dame. Notre Dame should get them. And their last game is Louisville at Old Mississippi. Old Miss, 6.5, 55 and a half. Trinidad and Tobago will be their quarterback, but without Lane Kiffin, although his assistant coaches are still there, so they'll still run probably the same offense. So we will see. I would think Old Miss wins the game, because I don't think Louisville is going to stop Trinidad and Tobago, but we will see. All right, that's college football week 1A and 1B, or any way you want to slice it. It's 8:29 and 9:05. So we have to kind of come up with the assumption between Gray's Sports Almanac. So I was reading Tulane. So I've got to figure out Tulane. Who's their quarterback? Never heard of them. Oh, by the way, they got a new coach. Will Hall, first year overall. Gramillion, the new quarterback, he's a senior. He's never played. Houston transfer, Gramillion, holdover. He started for the Cougars in 24, but he sucked. So now he's coming here to suck. And, it's you don't know. Maybe he got better, but he sucks. In 24, he was replaced at Houston. I think Tulane's in trouble this year. Now, Tulane scored 27 and gave up 23 last year. Pretty good defense. Probably still be there. Their offense will come way down, and you got a new coach, and you hope it's the same system. And that's the problem. You get a new coach gives you different systems, and you have to see that. So anyway, that's our college football. Let me see if I have any what to talk about in economics. So yesterday, Alligator was the guest on Mark McGuire. So a little bit. I showed you Mickey Mantle. What do we want to talk about? So as we know, gold's been manipulated, paper gold by options, derivatives, which are basically option bets. Why? Because the U.S. makes more money if you're in the stock market, in the bond market, in the banks, because the banks run the government and want your money. And so they keep suppressing gold because most people are ignorant to it. 99% have no idea. And they see the price drop. Like today, the price was 41 and a change, is back to 40, 60 or whatever. And oh, I don't want to invest gold because when I invest, I want to make money right away. I don't want to wait. The clever people are waiting because we know that the supply is very small and the demand's very large. And we know that's the key. Just like in football, we know the key. You have a good coach, you have a good quarterback, and you have a good defense, aka like Ohio State. You're probably going to win a lot. So we want to bet on you. And in this situation, with gold, with anything, it's very limited, but there's a high demand for it. You could have things that are limited, but don't have a high demand. Those don't have high prices. But if you got something very limited with a high demand, you're going to have a high price. So that's what we're looking for. And you keep your eye on that. So it happens to be physical gold and silver is you're getting a huge demand from BRICS in most central banks. And the supply, you can't print it. That's it. And this is the key that most of these morons don't understand is you can't is what inflation is and what printing is. I keep hearing all these little talk shows on the war and oh, we're going to have high inflation because the oil prices will go up. That's not inflation, fellas. That's the market. That's them. A shortage in supply creates a higher price. It's got nothing to do with inflation. It's only inflating the money supply, and people just don't seem to understand that. So that's what we're really looking at. And so how we stay ahead of the game and how we win, just like we do in football and baseball, we know the dollar's going out. So we say, how do we get out of the dollar while it's still available? It still has a value. And what do I go in? And like I said, when Biden was the president, he starts doing all these big COVID $5 trillion relief acts, means he's got to print $5 trillion. I said, the dollar is done. I said, well, where should I go? The euro, the British pound, the Swiss franc, and I came up with gold and silver because I said all those are the same. They all have too big of a government. They all have high Social Security, a lot of people retiring. They all have a debt, and they all have interest on the debt. God knows what their military spending is. So they all have the same It's the same structure, and therefore you're looking at, oh, wait a minute, all of them are going to go bankrupt, and they are. They're all bankrupt, which leaves the BRICS countries. Why are the BRICS countries not bankrupt? Because they have gold, and so it led me into gold and silver, and that's really why we're in gold and silver, and that's really the key to surviving what's about to happen. The dollar, Trump just keeps printing more and more dollars. Oh, we need more missiles. Oh, hey, Congress, we need another $1 trillion to pay for these. We need more missiles because we're bombing Iran and doing absolutely nothing because Iran's an underground country. They have a very hot desert. And they're well fortified. They have mountains all the way around, and here's the desert. So everything's underground, and we're not hitting anything underground. We send a missile in. What does it destroy? Something on the top. But if you want to get any of their missiles or any of the radar or anything else, you got to go down a mile, and nothing is going to penetrate a mile down. They do. The Germans had a lot of that. The Nazis, they had a lot of tunnels. Like Hitler's bunker, there was 6 exits to it. He could walk to the airport, the train station, wherever he needed to go to underground. Nobody would know. And they had that in Spain, and then they went to Argentina, and they had a bunch of tunnels. They always had a bunch of tunnels. The Nazis are the tunnel people. So that's what you have, and that's what you have in Iran, and that's what happened in Vietnam. We're bombing Vietnam, but they're all underground in these tunnels, so you're not bombing anything. You're just sending bombs out, say, look, we bombed them, but it's the stupidest thing. You can't bomb them. You have to actually throw a bomb down into the tunnel to blow up the tunnel. Then you're doing something. So the U.S. just spending their money frivolously because they're run by the mafia, and who owns the banks, who run the government, who run the defense contractors. So the defense contractors seem to be running the country. Let's have a war every year, and then people will buy our missiles and our planes and our tanks. Well, but that's just like manipulating the stock market and manipulating the gold price. You have to let the market do it. Is there really a demand for missiles? Well, if we create these wars, then there will be a demand for the missiles. So if we don't have a war, there won't be any demand for it. Oh, this is how stupid they think. So again, we get out of the dollar because they keep printing money for missiles and the debt. $40 trillion in debt now. You got to pay the debt and the interest. And all the public workers, all the school workers, my friend works at the DOD, all the government jobs, you got to pay them. How do they get paid? There's no revenue coming into the DOD or the Department of Education or Homeland Security. They get paid by the government printing money. And so you printed it. It has no value. You cannot continue. That's why you should never have a big government. So this is the major problem. We keep printing 2, 3, 4 trillion a year. And where do we get the money from? We print it. But I mean, we keep spending the money. So we budget 5 trillion and we spend 7 trillion. Where's the 2 trillion? Where does the 5 trillion come from? Maybe taxes? That's still not worth anything. So you're dealing with money that isn't worth anything. So as we bring you into gambling, which everything is, or the stock market, which is gambling, or Bitcoin, which is gambling, what's the point? Oh, we're trying to make money. But if you make monopoly money, so I make $10,000 in Amazon, and this is worth nothing. Did I make any money? No. If you're smart enough, you cash out and then you buy gold and silver with it because they can't fuck with you in gold and physical gold and silver. But then nobody, well, I got to pay tax. It's not worth anything anyway. So if you made 10 grand, you pay what, 2 grand in tax, and 8 grand can go into gold. Well, I don't want to pay tax. But that's the biggest problem of why did you get into the stock market in the first place? If you are lucky enough to choose a stock that goes up, you have to pay tax on it. 95% of the stocks go down. You lose money on 95% of the stocks. They'll all eventually go down. It's a little game they play. But because they're fucking around with Amazon and Apple and NVIDIA or whatever, it's all bullshit. It's just the government printing money, making those stocks look good. But it's all manipulated. It's all made off. So if you choose your own stock that's not on the bulletin board of the 5 or 6 that are going up, you're going to lose. I think the overall market, I don't know how many stocks there are, like a couple thousand stocks, right? 95% are losing money. Oh, Howard, it's $52,000. Yeah, those are the big 6, 7, 8 stocks. The NVIDIA is making it go up. And again, that $52,000 figure is just the Dow 30 industrials, not the other thousands of stocks that are on the market. And they're all going down because, as you know, Business 101, I gotta sell my product that covers my cost. And so what's happening here is, the pen cost me $2, and I'm going to sell it for $3. Sounds great. I'll make not a fortune, but I'll make money. And then my costs go up because of the money printing, making the dollar worthless. So now it costs me $4 to make this pen, but I can still only sell it for $2. I can't sell it for $5 because people have less money and they're going to figure out a different way. So the cost went from $2 to $5, and the price is at $3. I can't raise it to $6. My cost is now $5. I got to sell it for $3. I lose money. I go out of business. And that's what you have. So how's that going to affect the market? Well, people will get laid off, so they can't go. They're going to buy less at Kroger's, and they're going to go out to eat less. People like McDonald's and Burger King raise their prices. $8 for, I went to Wendy's for the first time in like 5 years when I did my laundry, and it was I think $7 for a double, which was really small, and $4 for a chili. It was like $11. And I'm thinking I can go to Coney and get a bigger burger and a bigger chili for $11. Or, so now you're competing with sit-down restaurants with the fast food with Wendy's. Well, Wendy's, the burger's smaller. So anyway, they can't really compete. So they're going to go out of business because they can't cover their costs. If it costs for a hamburger, fries, and a drink goes from $5 to $8 and you're charging $11, but you're competing with Coney Islands and other diner restaurants that you can sit down and order and get a better meal. When I go to the Boneyard, the barbecue, it's $15.99 for my half chicken with potato or these cottage fries and the coleslaw. So it's all there combined for $15. So can you compete with that? There's no fucking way you can compete with it. So this is the problem. So this is business. So how is the stock market going up when the stocks aren't making money? More people are getting laid off. Pepsi, their sales are down. They're not selling their Pepsis and their chips, those because they're too expensive. Doritos are like $2.79. I can get better made for $2.29. What are you going to buy? Right? So they can't keep this high price, $3 for a 2 liter of Pepsi. I'm really piffed about this whole, the pop in the fridge, the little 20 ouncer is $2.50. I can buy a 2 liter, put it in my fridge for $2. Like I buy Diet Squirt or something. Now Coke is $3, but you can buy a 2 for $5 a lot. And that's the point of it. So I don't know anybody that. And then I was at a gas station yesterday, and now they're not 20 ounces anymore. They're 16 ounces. So they make them $2.50 for 16 instead of $2.50 for 20. And then it's, but I can buy a 2 liter for $2.20. Oh, but this is cold. I don't care. I don't need it cold. I'm not buying it because I need it cold. I just want a 20 ounce pop. But you can't even buy that because most of them are a 6-pack, six bottles for $5 or whatever. So their pricing's all fucked up. And again, the businesses are in trouble because people won't be able to afford them and they won't buy them. And they are producing. So you make all this Coke. Now, I used to work at Hiram Walker Canadian Club, and I went to the plant, and they have this big vat, and they put in like rye and like corn and wheat, and they ferment it, and it smells really bad, and that's how they make the whiskey. But it ferments in this huge vat for I don't know how long. And then when it's ready, but they're making all this. Well, people can't afford it. They're fucked because there's a big cost, and they have to make sure that they cover their cost. So whatever it costs them to make the Canadian Club, they got to be able. So if it costs $40 for a $7.50, they got to be able to sell it for $50, right? You have to cover the cost. And that's the most important thing. And that's what's not going to happen. People aren't going to have the money because you've ruined the money. Now, what we're frustrated with gold is because we've played it properly. We got out of money, which is losing value, and all the prices are more expensive. If you choose to use the dollar, the price is more expensive. However, because we Rumpelstiltskin the dollar and the gold and silver should be going up with the prices of the groceries, but they're not. These idiots are fucking with us, keeping the prices down. And that is our problem. We're frustrated going, well, wait, it was 5,600. Why would it go down? There's the demand didn't go down. So we played it the only way you can, which is to get into gold and silver, because they can't print it, and the value should never go down in gold and silver until it reaches like 50,000 an ounce gold, and people start selling it to take, okay, I'll take it. I was asked yesterday about at what point do I sell my gold? And I said, you really don't. There is no point. It's not like at 10 grand, I'm going to sell it. At 25 grand, I'm going to sell it. At 50 grand, I'm going to sell it. If I sell it and I get this, I'm not interested in selling it. I don't want to be in this. So the game is get out of this. That's why I use Titanic. The Titanic's sinking, and you're in the lifeboat. So the question is, well, when are you going to get out of the lifeboat and go back on the Titanic? Why would I go back on the Titanic? It's sinking. I'm in the safe haven with being in the lifeboat, being in the gold lifeboat. So getting out of this, going into gold, I'm in the safe haven. I don't want to get back into the dollar because it's worthless. It's sinking. I said I'll probably buy a house with 2 ounces of gold down the road when the housing market collapses. Stock market's going to collapse, and I won't care. I was asked, so how much did you lose in the 2008 stock market crash? I said, nothing. I don't play it. The only thing I play is I bought gold stocks, and I would wait for the 10 o'clock drop, and as it started climbing up, I'd buy and then let it run up. And if it made out 50 cents, I had 1,000 shares, and I said, thank you very much. And I got the fuck out because I don't trust it. And it's all manipulated. So if you understand the game's manipulated, you're not going to play it. So that's what we have. So the proper play was that, but they're keeping that gold and silver price down. And that's what I'm saying. Just wait. That gold and silver price is going to go to the moon. This China physical price will definitely help us. And that's really what we want. That's why I'm excited about the physical price. We'll see how it works. We'll see if COMEX adjusts to it, or we got to look at Shanghai. And then if I go to the store to sell it, am I going to get the Shanghai price or the COMEX? I don't know if COMEX can stay different because, like I said, you can take delivery of the gold on COMEX and then go to China and sell it. Hey, I'm here. I want to sell. I want to. Yours is 10,000. Theirs is 4. So I'm going to buy a bunch at 4,000, take it there, and get 10,000 for it. But again, you'll still be in dollars, so it's a good thing. But that's what you're looking at. So the answer is never. I don't want to. I'll sell an ounce if I need whatever the monopoly money is until they get gold-backed currency. Then I won't need to worry about selling it. But I said I'll be able to use it to buy things. We'll go to the grocery store with an ounce of silver and use it. Not now, but when the dollar's worthless, what's the grocery store? They're going to take something, right? They have to. They have to stay in business. So they have to sell. They have to pay for their goods in dollars and then sell them for dollars. So they will take dollars. But when dollars go out, then we'll see what really happens. And it won't be digital. You don't want. That's a Ponzi scheme. Whatchamacallit, what is it? The new coin, the Trump coin. I mean, what is it? It's when that don't go into that. That's worthless. Again, Bitcoin and stablecoin. That's what it is. And stablecoin's not backed by anything. It's worthless. Oh no, it's backed by the dollar. The dollar's worthless. So what is the dollar? Stablecoin doesn't present anything good if it's backed by the dollar. It's not like the dollar is worth anything. So you don't want to be in stablecoin as protection. So in a roundabout way, you have money. You want to make money with your money. So you buy stocks, you buy bonds, you buy ball cards, you play poker, you play blackjack and craps, but you're still on that Titanic. If you're doing any of those, you're still on that Titanic. Gold and silver gets you off the Titanic. So now I made 20 grand in poker, but it's in dollars, which are worthless. So my 20 grand that I made is really worthless. So I got to run it and go buy gold and silver with it to maintain the 20 grand that I made, that I won. So now I turn it into gold and silver, but not with the thought of it going up and then I'm going to sell it, because then I'm back in the dollar. I'm back on the Titanic and it's still sinking. So I'm only selling to get a little bit of money to pay bills with, because they're still using monopoly money. But the rest, I got to move into gold and silver to protect it. So I win 20 grand. I want, let's say 15 grand. Then I pay some bills. I got 15 grand. I need to protect the 15 grand from going to zero. If I keep it in dollars, I'm fucked. So I move it into gold and silver, and my 15,000 not only is protected, it won't go down in value. It'll go up to 30, 40, 50,000, especially now where it's going to go up. So that's the idea, because I don't want to, if I invested in one, I want to preserve the money. I want gold and silver for the money. Right? That's the key. So I don't want to be in it and, I won 25,000 in a poker tournament. I'll put it in the stock market. I'll put it in a CD. I'll put it in a stable coin. I mean, no, no, no. You have to get it out before it goes to zero. So it's like the clock's running down, and either you keep it in dollars, it's worthless. But if you can move it into gold and silver, maybe a Mano card, but I'd still put gold and silver first, and then maybe a Rolex. But again, I got to sell the Rolex. So now here's the second issue. So I got this Mano card, and let's say it's worth 50,000. I don't know. I have no idea. This is worth 50. Well, how do I sell it? I need groceries, or I need to go to Kroger's, or you know, there's a birthday I want to pay for. How do I do that? And so this is good that it's worth 50, but harder to sell. With my gold, I ran to the gold store, the coin store, and I said, "Here's a half ounce," and he gave me $2,000. But I can't do that with this. He won't give me money for this card. I have to go on eBay or go to a card show to sell it. And I might have to wait a while for somebody to have 25, 50,000, whatever I said it was worth, to buy it from me. And then I got to make sure it's a good deal. And I gotta make sure if he pays me cash that it's good. But then I'm still in dollars. And then I need to transfer them into gold. And I got to make sure I can find the gold, because gold's becoming very limited thanks to BRICS. And the price of gold's going up. So yeah, I got a card, and yeah, it's worth 50 grand, or I got a stock, or my Bitcoin went up, or my stable coin went up. And but I need the gold to protect the value. So Bitcoin was 128,000, as we know. Now it's down to 60, 62 or whatever. Well, wait a minute. I just lost a shitload of money in Bitcoin. So I want to get out of Bitcoin. I'm going to get, I guess, cash for it. I don't know how it works. I really don't have an interest in something of a scam. But I know I see what it's worth, but how do I get the money? How do I sell it? Is it easy to sell it? And then it goes where? To the bank. Then I got to go to the bank and withdraw $50,000 or 60,000. And then what do I do with it? Well, I don't want 60,000 in cash at the bank. It's not worth anything. So I have to take 50 of it and go buy gold and silver with it, if I can still find it, and depending on the price. Because it's going to be harder and harder. It's very limited. So it's going to be extremely hard to get the gold, right? To get more gold. My glasses. To get more gold is going to be very difficult, because there's only 200,000 tons. BRICS probably has 190,000 of them. So you have a little bit left. So that's the key point, right? I have a little left, but what if they run out? Well, I'll still be able to get it, but it's going to cost me, instead of 10,000, it might cost me 20,000 to get the gold at that time. But what you're protecting is you made money in Bitcoin, stablecoin, Amazon, Pepsi, Coca-Cola. You made money, but it's a fantasy, because if it's sitting in Charles Schwab and you got $50,000 in Coca-Cola stock, you don't really have it. Well, I need some money to pay some bills. Well, what are you going to do? All right, I'll sell 10 ounces or 10 shares, and then I can ask for a withdrawal and get the money, and then go to the bank or whatever. How easy is it for you to get the money to pay the bills or whatever? And again, you're playing with fire, because this money's not worth anything. And that's the biggest con that being played on everybody. You don't understand that it's not worth anything. You think it says 100 on it, it's worth 100. And that's why I talk values. Go to the grocery store. See what $100 buys you. 5 items. Right? I might get 10 items, and it's between $40 and $50. And one will be a veggie day and a fruit day, and one will be an eggs and milk day, and maybe a hamburger chicken day. And so you're doing these little, $40 thing, and you got 2 bags full of food that, and again, the veggies are pretty cheap. So you buy like the pita bread's like $3.99 for 8 pita breads. That's crazy. So that's what you're doing. So you're protecting the value of your money by putting it in the gold and silver because it's limited and they can't print it. They can only dig it out of the ground. But does anybody understand that? Very few people, except for you guys, because that's what I teach. And that's why I teach it. But most people don't understand. Most people are in a daze. Oh, I got money. You got money that isn't worth anything. Well, yes, it is. It says 100 on it. So people, they're scared. They don't want to admit it. They don't want to really learn it. They don't really want to know it until when it happens. I showed you that thing on the Rust Belt. I think it was yesterday, where the steel companies were in Buffalo and Cleveland, Detroit, Fort Wayne, Gary, Indiana, Flint, Michigan, and they're all, sitting high on the crown, and then all of a sudden, the Japanese and the Germans came in, made it quicker, better, cheaper. Bye steel industry. U.S. Steel's gone. All these jobs are gone. All these cities are fucked. And I'm sure they said the same thing. This is in the 50s and 60s. Oh, we're fine. We're the leader. There's no competition. We're monopolies. How about Germany and Japan? They're your competition, and you're not even recognizing it. That's the same thing with the dollar. Oh, the dollar's fine. What can happen to the dollar? It says 100 on it. Da 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 da. Until Japan and Germany come in this case, it's BRICS, and says, we don't want your dollars anymore. And nobody wants it. And when there's no demand, the price goes down, which is what's happening. And everybody's buying gold and silver. They can't sell treasuries because nobody wants the dollar, because you can't keep printing the dollar to death. It kills the value of it. All right, it's Mantle, it's K-Line, Cash, and Roger Maris. If nobody wants this card, it's worth 0, even though they got the Mantle in here. But if nobody wants the card, it's worthless. And that's what you have to understand. When nobody wants the euro, this is worthless. If nobody wants it, it's worthless. That's the point. When nobody wants the dollar because you've printed it to death, it's worthless. It's worth 0 because nobody wants it. And that's the point we're at. Nobody wants it. So you have to protect yourself. You have money in the stock market. Get it the fuck out, because the stock market's going to collapse, because the government has to keep printing money to push the stocks up. Then you have other countries who are in the stock market. China, Japan. Well, maybe not China as much, but Japan, Germany, Italy, France, they're in the stock market as a safe haven because their own euros aren't worth anything. And they've chosen the wrong investment. The investment to be in is gold and silver, because you can't print it. Yes, it is manipulated and they're holding the price down, but that, again, eventually the dam breaks and the beach ball that you've been holding down goes up. And we keep going, when's it going to happen? When it will happen. It has to happen. It's coming, but when it comes, it comes. You can ask me, when's it going to come? And nobody can give you a real answer because nobody knows. It's based on the government. It's based on the market deciding they want gold and silver and they don't want the other. So you understand what's happening. It's just a matter of time till it blows up. And that's what we're trying to be ahead of the game. And that's what we are. We're ahead of the game. We've already bought, and here comes July 24th. Actually, tonight, China will have the ball, and they won't be able to do shorts anymore. They won't be able to play with paper, supposedly. We'll see it. We'll believe it when we see it. but that's what's supposed to happen tonight. And that'll make the gold price go to the moon, right? We'll see. We'll eventually see 10 grand. I don't know if we'll see it tomorrow. I don't know if that's really true and that really happens, which I believe that's what's happening. Then we'll see. We could see 5,000 tomorrow because it goes overnight, and that'll be the key to it. So I don't know if we'll look at COMEX for it or we'll look at the Shanghai for it, but that's the demand coming in, and you can't print it, and that's your safety. Why would you want to be in something that has no value? This is worthless. The 5 is meaningless. Why do you want to be in this when you can be in gold and silver? So with 60 of these, with 60 of these, or probably less, with 50 of these, you can buy gold, you can buy silver, something that can't go down because you can't print it. The more money, the more you print, the less it's worth. And that's where the dollar is gone, and all these other stablecoin Bitcoin aren't backed by anything, so there's not much better. Oh, it's limited Bitcoin to 21 million, and but you can't use it. You can't use it as money, so you have to sell it to get dollars. What good is that? You need to sell it to get gold. That would be the smart move, but people think, for some reason, it's the biggest scam I've ever heard. Bitcoin's going to just keep going because Michael Saylor said so. Like, who the fuck's he? And I heard he sold a lot of his Bitcoin. Anyway, I know Trump's doing Ponzi schemes with stablecoin and Bitcoin. We can't believe anything that comes out of Trump's mouth, and it's to manipulate the market. Oh, the war is going to end, and the oil price drops. Oh, we're back into the war, and the oil price goes up. Total manipulation. We want to be in free markets that move because of the market moves it, right? I got a Mano card. How much do you want to pay me for? Oh, 50 grand? Okay, fine. I'll take the 50 grand. Thank you very much. That's the market talking. The government would say, well, we're going to keep the price of this down to $5. Well, I know it's worth 50,000. Oh, no, worth 5. And by the way, we want to buy it for the 5. And you're like, what the fuck you talking about? This is worth 50 grand. No, not if we short it in COMEX. We'll make it worth 5, and then we'll buy it. And that's kind of what they're doing. So they buy the gold and silver cheap by pushing the price down, by printing money that the money is not worth anything. So what we're trying to do is protect. We're trying to get off the Titanic into the lifeboat, and then protect ourselves in the lifeboat. And the lifeboat's the gold one and the silver one. So we're protecting ourselves from the Titanic that's about to sink, but nobody really knows when, except for it will sink because there's a hole in it and the water is coming in. And that's really the key to it. So we're looking for investments, but if you do make money in a poker tournament or blackjack or in football betting, which you will with me, you've got to take your bankroll and you bet it in dollars, and then you take a little bit away and buy gold and silver with it. I know some people bought a Rolex with it. I bought a car with mine in 1980. I bought a Supra when they first came out from Toyota. And it was 1980, 81. And I bought a car with my football money. So that's what you're trying to do. So why do we go to gold and silver? Because they can't be inflated, which means they can't be printed and where there's too much out there, and then they lose their value. The dollar gets printed, it loses its value. You have to get out of it, which is why you get into gold and silver. But if you're making money playing blackjack or craps or the stock market, at some point you need to sell it, take your profit, and move it into gold and silver, because the longer you hold it in dollars, so the longer you're sitting there with Amazon, and I'm making all this money with it, but the longer you sit in it, the bigger your risk, because the boat's still sinking. All you've done is move from the second floor to the third floor of the Titanic, but you're still on the boat. So you've made all this money, but the money isn't worth anything. So what good is 500,000 of this when it has no value? That's why you must sell it to get into gold and silver with it, and physical gold and silver. If you're in an ETF, you're still in dollars. If you're in a stock, you're still in dollars. The only way out is physical gold and silver. And you certainly don't want to play options, which are very risky. Uh, the best play is physical gold and silver. That's it. And so things like this will hold value, but the value will be in the card will switch from dollars. So this is $50,000. Dollar goes to zero. This goes to zero. But there's people who have gold who want Mickey Mantle, so they will give me 2 ounces of gold or 1 ounce of gold or a half ounce of gold for the card. Okay, fine. So it holds value because of the mantle, and it's very limited and high demand for any mantle card. So that's really what you're looking at. So you're trying to get off the boat, get into the lifeboat, but not get back on the boat. You don't want to get back on the boat. You got to get off the boat. And gold and silver is the only thing that you can do. Like I said, a mantle card, but you still then got to sell it, and you're going to get dollars for it, and then you got to take the dollars into gold. That's just get enough gold and silver first, and then if you want to buy a mantle card or a Rolex, then do that. That's what you're looking for. It's the only way out. When the wheelbarrows start coming, they're not going to wheelbarrow gold and silver. They'll wheelbarrow these will be in the wheelbarrow off to the store to buy milk and bread, but not gold and silver. So you want non-wheelbarrow items to hold, and they will keep their value. And that's what it's all about. So as businesses start, the value of the dollar drops, so they need more dollars to buy Coca-Cola or to make Coke or chocolate cake or whatever they're going to make. They're going to need more dollars to buy it because the dollar is losing value. Just like me and you go to the grocery store now and it's $4 or $3 for pita bread. I get 8 slices. I mean, it's, or my avocados, $1.50 for avocados. So as you're doing that, you're trying to, so so your costs are going to go up because they got to cover their costs. So they got to charge more. But the problem is, since we're the market, we say, no way, we're not going to pay more. Like I told the barbecue restaurant, I know the owner, if you mark your ribs $45 a slab, you're closed, because nobody's going to pay it. Even though it's probably a good price, nobody is going to really afford $45 for a slab of ribs. You're not going to do it. So that's kind of what you're looking at, is if my costs go up, can I really raise the price? And you really can't. People have it in their minds, I'm going to pay $10 for a steak, not $20, and I'm going to pay $10, $12 for salmon, not $20. So when you make those prices $20, your food's going to sit on the counter. Nobody's going to buy it because there's no market for it. If the market for salmon is let's say $10 for a pound, and you're trying to sell it at 20, who are you selling it to? There's nobody home to sell it to. And that's all because the dollar is being printed and inflated. That's what inflation is, the dollar. And therefore, but in gold and silver, the gold and silver keep up. As the dollar drops, the gold and silver goes up. And as that happens, the ounce of silver that you paid $25 for now can buy you 3 pounds of salmon or 3 steaks or whatever. So that's where we're going, and that's why we're frustrated, because we know the price should be much higher, because they can't print anymore and the demand's huge now. So people who understand it, the Chinese, the Russians, the Indians, Brazil, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and as more in Japan and Africa realize and understand it, they're buying it up, but the price isn't going up, because this is a bullshit Ponzi scheme where the price of the gold and silver is controlled by options, not the dollar, not the market. And as soon as it hits market, which sounds like it'll be tomorrow or tonight, then we can sit back and just relax. And we've done the smart play. We were prudent. We got out of something with no value for something with a huge value that's going up and up and up. So businesses will go out because they can't afford, as the dollar goes out there, they're too stupid to understand what to do. If we're running a Dairy Queen or a McDonald's, I'm taking my profits and buying gold and silver with it. That's what you need to do. You can't, because as the dollar loses value, your costs are now $10 for a McDonald's hamburger. You can't charge $12, $13 for a McDonald's hamburger. You got to keep it at $7, but your costs are 10. Your selling price is $7. You lose $3 a burger. Goodbye. And that's kind of what's happening to businesses. They're too stupid to understand they need gold and silver. Very few are smart enough to do that. And the barbecue place, I can give him silver for my meal. He'll take it. So I'm all prepared when the dollar collapses. But that's really what you're looking at, is the dollar's very weak. It's collapsing. And you're being prudent. By getting into gold and silver, you protect yourself. So I'm not saying you don't play blackjack and you don't play craps and you don't play poker at the casino and you don't sports book. You should definitely sports bet. And then, all of those at the casino are tax free. You sports bet, you go to MGM or Caesars and you make a football bet and you win. There's no tax on it. You take the money, they cash you out, and off you go. And you win at blackjack or craps, because they don't know what you started with. So just because you're cashing in $2,000 on the craps table, you might have started with $5. You might have started with 500. So they don't know what you won or lost. So that's why they just cash you out, take the chips, give you the money, and off you go. That's why everybody's appealing to the casinos where it's tax-free basically. And they got poker and they got football and they got, but stay away from the slot machines. But that's what you're trying to do. That's your investment. Yeah, you can go into stocks. They're manipulated. ETFs, stay the fuck away. They're terribly manipulated. And then you have so you have your stocks, your Bitcoin's manipulated. So everything's pretty much manipulated, but gold and silver's manipulation will end. Bitcoin, it's not worth anything anyway. Stable coin, I do not run into stable coin. It's backed by the dollar. Well, maybe I should be in the dollar then. At least I have them. And then again, your collectibles, your Van Goghs and Picassos, your Manels and Mazes, they will always have value. But what we don't necessarily, if we have to get this, we turn it into gold and silver. If we can wait long enough, when the gold and silver is there, and now I can trade for gold and silver, then there you go. My Manel survived, and there is demand. There's always going to be demand. I'd want a Manel card. If I had to pay a quarter ounce for a Manel card, here you go. I would do that in a heartbeat for a rookie card anyway. But that's what you're looking for. But you need something of value that holds its value. High demand, low supply, and there's nothing better than gold and silver. Anyway, so that's what you're looking at. We know the dollar's worthless, so don't be naive. Well, it says 100 on it. Yeah. As I tell the girls in Amsterdam, yeah, you probably want to take silver and not $60. They don't know. I get $60. They're all excited, but they pay their bills and whatever euros, but it really has no. So let's say there's savings. So let's say there's a girl and she's saving. She's got 25,000 euros, and she thinks, oh, okay, I could get out of this, and pay my debts, and have a normal life. And no, it's not worth anything. It'll collapse. Will she be smart enough to buy gold and silver? Only if she talks to me. And I haven't been to Amsterdam in a while, but they won't understand it. Daria does. She gets it. She understands the gold and silver, and so is Alyssa. I taught them well. They both get it, and they understand that the dollar will not have a value. So anyway, what else is there? These wars are very expensive. What's really going on with Trump in these wars? I can't say. It's just the guy's out of his fucking mind, or it's done on purpose. He wants to bankrupt us. The only answer is George Soros, and his Treasury Secretary works for George Soros. It's the best way to collapse a country. So they can't defeat America because we got two big oceans, and you're not gonna defeat us out from the outside, but from the inside you can. If you fuck with our money and make it worthless, which is exactly what you're doing, that's how you defeat a country. We don't have any money. We don't have any power. We can't really make weapons. We're defenseless. We lose. And we're this far away from that happening. So why are we in Iran? We're there to steal the oil because we're broke, and they have gold too, but you can't. This isn't Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein, these little countries who went on the gold standard. So this is the problem. So what the fuck he's doing? What are we doing in Ukraine? Oh my God, you've got to be kidding there. It's not even a war. It's we give Zelensky money and he's a multimillionaire now or a billionaire. And he sends people out to fight. So we're fighting. Ukraine's fighting for the US and Britain and NATO. It's the craziest thing. And really no objective. I mean, Russia's taken everything they need from Ukraine. You'd think Ukraine would surrender, but they don't. I got friends in Ukraine and Russia, and it's very frustrating for me right now. But my one friend went from Ukraine to Germany. So she's living in Berlin. My other friend lives in St. Pete, and she's still in St. Pete. But she's not getting attacked. The Ukraine's pretty much under attack. But, again, they're very expensive. And again, it fucks your money up. And that's why they don't want the gold standard. You can't really have wars because you can't spend that money. You can only have as much money as you have gold. So if I got $1 trillion worth of gold, I can only have $1 trillion. You can see they spend $7 trillion a year. Where are they going to get the other $6 trillion? Well, I have to raise the gold price to $7 trillion. And then they can spend $7. But that's the problem. It's all corrupt. And so they want to steal the money and they just print more money and put it in their pockets. They can't do that with the gold standard. However, what they don't get is their dollar's not worth anything. So that's where we're at. So I will leave you with that. So again, you're buying gold and silver to protect yourself because the value of the dollar is going to zero, if not already there. Elon says it's 99% gone. I say it's 100% gone. I say it's just a fantasy. You can go to Kroger's and shop there. You can go to barbecue and get ribs. It's really just a fantasy because the whole system is worthless. The guy makes $1 million selling ribs. It's just in dollars. It's not worth anything. So I will leave you with that. That's why you buy the gold and silver, because you can't lose. The dollar's worthless. It's all you guys with baseball betting and football betting and that. It's fine to play it, but when you win, you got to turn it into gold and silver before it goes worthless. And then we'll just bet with gold and silver or whatever the new currency is. We'll use that to bet. We'll always have something to bet because you need a medium of exchange to trade your job for money and then your money for groceries and clothes and glasses. So you need something to pay for it. Right now we're using this that's not worth anything, and soon it'll be replaced by something else, hopefully gold back, but I doubt it. And stable coins are not worth anything, so don't go there. ETFs. You don't own any gold or silver, so don't go there. They charge a huge amount for management fees. It's a scam. So be careful with that. But that's the idea. So you want to protect. What I'm talking about is protecting yourself, being in something with value versus not. And if you're going to gamble, which is what you're going to do in stocks, bonds, banks, whatever, sports, poker, whatever you're going to play, you're going to gamble. When you win, then take some and put it in the gold and silver. That's all I'm saying. You don't want to stay it out. Now they'll be able to, the dollar might be there for another year, even though it's not worth anything, but nobody wants it. And that's really the key. Nobody wants to buy the treasuries. So at some point, the dollar will be gone because nobody wants it. And if nobody wants it, there's no demand for the product. It's worthless. If I can't sell this card because nobody wants it, it's worthless, even though it has Mickey in it. So understand that. Questions, comments? All right. So my guys, Network Solutions should be fixing the site. Let's see if I got an email from it. I don't know why it would take so long. Let's see. Do I have a response? I should by now. All right, 12:05. Hope this message finds you well. Our Escalade support team has successfully worked on your ticket and resolved the issue. Okay, great. So now my IT guys should be able to go in and just change the bowl to another thing. If you're getting, I'm getting this rapid cash payment confirm. I don't know what they're talking about. Rapid cash track. Funds have been deposited and now available in your account. View your balance. Thank you. This is a scam. They want me to go in and get all my data and everything else. So if you get stuff like that, payment confirm. What payment? Now, first of all, I don't have rapid cash track in the first place. The only thing I would see is if I get a PayPal. So if you guys pay for football, I would get a PayPal that, that John C. or Bobby paid for a week of football for $100. Okay, I get it. I would see it, but I know that's real. But since I don't have a rapid cash track account, then you just delete it. And it's a bunch of bullshit. So anyway, very good to see. And I will text my IT guy. He should get the email also. So my IT guy now, in case he didn't see his emails, can now do it. Anyway, so the site should be fine. So, as much money as you can Rumpelstiltskin out of the dollars into the gold and silver, believe me, the better you are. And with everything about to happen, the 24th, which is theoretically tonight, because that's China, we're just waiting for the boat to sink. We're not worried that it's going to sink. We know it's going to sink. We're just waiting for the when. We know gold's going to be 10,000 an ounce. We just don't know when. We saw 56. I don't get the pullback. They're just trying to keep you into the stock market. Again, our corrupt government does not give a fuck about us. They give a fuck about them stealing the money. It's the most corrupt government I've ever seen. So keep that in mind. So let me know questions or comments. You can now leave comments on my after where people leave the comments, and I will read them. And if you have questions or comments there, leave them. Do you like Florida State, or you like Michigan State, or anything like that? That's it. So now my next function is to bring in the rankings of the teams into my first page here. So CMU is playing New Mexico State or New Mexico. What are they ranked? A, B, Z team, over, under, whatever they're ranked. And I'll bring in last year's defense. And then I go gently into that good night that was last year, this is this year, and we understand that. But we need some basis to go. And we prefer the same coach, because then we'll probably get the same defense. Just did he lose his quarterback or not? So that's why we like Ohio State. Same coach, same system, same quarterback, same receiver. They're laying 50, but we know they're getting ready for Texas week 2. And that'll be the big bet, Ohio State, Texas. Most likely an under, because neither team really has, the quarterback's okay, but they both have strong defenses. So keep your eye on that. And Arch Manning is not all that. All right. Well, that's good. So enjoy. Today's Thursday. I'm so fucked up with my day. Yesterday was Wednesday. I didn't even know it was Wednesday. I kind of got lost in translation. So today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Although I keep thinking it's Friday. All right. So I got my homework to do, and we will go from there. All right. So have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Questions or comments, feel free to leave. And that's it. Let's check our goal one last time. So we're sitting at 40.50, and we should see it when it hits 18 at 6 o'clock. We should see it zoom up, because China will not short it anymore. Silver 57.69. So the theory is China's the one pushing the price down, although here it's Europe pushing the price down from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It's Europe, and they just sent it packing down. The only explanation is they want to get out of their options, A, and B, they want to buy cheap. So if I can buy it at 4,050 versus 10,000, I can buy twice as much gold and silver, although I don't know what they're waiting for. So this is what you're at. So again, we'll figure out how to find the Shanghai gold price, physical price, tonight or tomorrow from there. Anyway, that was your football, your baseball free pick. We are taking, and it's a very small day today. I picked 3 teams. Minnesota over 7.5, only because it's a small number, the 7.5. And there's only 3 picks. So it's a very dead day. Anyway, you want to buy baseball, $25 gets you 7 days, all the picks. Football, it's going to be $750 for the whole year, which is $35 a week, which you can't beat. Otherwise, weekly, it's $100 a week for both college and pro. And any of the packages, you get the locks. You can buy just the locks, and that's $77 or $500 for the year for the locks, the best plays, and then you can buy a monthly. $300 for everything for 4 weeks, or the year. If you want just the college, it's $599. Just the pro, $599. Both is $750. Very good value there. And again, we figure it out. We look at our A and Z teams, our over under teams, and we got it down to a pretty good science. And I'm very good at, like, who's your favorite team? Nobody. The team that's winning is my favorite team. All right. Well, have a good day then. I will leave you in peace. www.teacherking.com. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.